Good afternoon, everybody, or whatever time zone you live in. So, this week a lot has happened. To start it off, we're going to be starting to talk about Fenix and the continued development that we have experienced with it. For instance, this last week, we worked more in depth with the feature selection page. If you remember Cinchi, we have that whole page where you can be like, oh yeah, I would like to have Firefox installed, or I would like Chrome browser, I would like all these Linux games installed. Well, with our Fenix feature selection page, we want to be able to kind of like a 2.0 version of that. Feature selection 2.0. We want to keep all those choices, of course, but in a way that gives you, as the user, more control. So this would basically entail, say if you think of the Cinchi feature selection page right now, there's the game option. You can toggle it on or off, and it comes bundled with all those games. I believe Zero ID, Megaglast, several others, all the way down to chess and solitaire. Well, I know as for myself, I enjoy some of those games, but not all of them. And so what we're hoping to do in Fenix, when it comes out for you all, is to allow you as a user that ultimate decision. You to decide exactly what games you want installed. So, as you can see here, this is not what it's going to end up looking like, but this is just an example of our progress so far. Basically, you can see you have the main option of the games, and then you have all these underlying options, advanced options, that are connected to that. For instance, in the end version, in the final product, when you enable, disable, say, I don't know, Zero AD, all the other games will still be installed via that option. But this way you can enable and disable specific games to your liking, and if you don't want to deal with all that, if you just want to see what happens, if you want it all as a bundle, then go ahead. Completely free to do that too. Just select the top option and don't worry at all about the more advanced things. So that's our ultimate goal. Hopefully, obviously, the GUI for it will look different when we're done, but that's just an example of what we've been working on so far. We haven't made a ton of progress, but that's okay. We made some, and we have a good idea down. If you have a different vision for this, please don't feel hesitant to just let us know down in the comments, maybe on our forum or Discord, anywhere you want to. I think as I mentioned in the last podcast, you could do it in all if you wished. Just please don't repeatedly spam us. We love your opinion, but we'd also like to hear others as well. So feel free to tell us if you want. The next thing on the list of things that have occurred or happened would be the Reborn Community Wallpapers package. That has actually been a package that people have wanted to see in Reborn for over a year now. And to be entirely honest, at first I was just so busy getting Reborn up and going when we started that I did not have time to focus on that. Later down the road, I didn't necessarily know how. Because you have to remember that while I am developing this, I'm still learning myself. It's still a learning process for me, just as using Linux I'm sure is for you. And so I don't know everything, and I'm constantly learning new things, because what I wanted to do with this community wallpapers package was to make it the ultimate vision or the dream of an ultimate dynamic setup. So what I mean by that is, say you as the users, because I don't want to be the only person controlling what wallpapers get approved. There's actually someone on the Discord server that is doing that, I believe Damien, is. And so, say Damien or someone else down the road, whoever wishes to manage the submission and addition of various wallpapers and logos and artwork for Reborn, whoever wants to manage that, should, I think, be able to make the decisions of how they want the file structure to be within the package. They should be able to decide, hey, for my mental organization, I think better if I have a separate folder for random artwork, a separate one for logos, and a separate one for wallpapers. Or maybe you're just one of those people who's like, hey, I love it all, let's just combine everything. So I wanted to make it so that when the package is built, I could deal with it with all of that, no matter where the various files are located. That way you have ultimate freedom when you're designing the package, or I should say adding wallpapers, how you want the file structure to be for yourself. I'm not saying that file structure will change in the ultimate app or package once you install it, but at least when you're adding them to GitLab, I think you should be able to decide those things on your own. And so I had to make it so that we could so that the package automatically finds all the necessary wallpapers and dumps them into one location, specifically the /user/share/backgrounds directory on your file system. And then from there, there's the added thing of, for GNOME or GNOME, however you want to say it. However, I think the devs do appreciate the pronunciation of GNOME more, but I've never met anyone who actually follows that recommendation. So anyways, getting off topic here. Where was I? Got off track. Oh yeah, yes, sorry about that. So, for GNOME and Cinnamon desktops, there's actually an additional file to make it show up in the select a wallpaper menu section, a settings application, I should say. There's a separate directory under the user share, /user/share directory that you have to add a .xml file to that basically lists all the intended wallpapers with certain properties like, oh, this is the name for that wallpaper, here's the location of the file, here's a few other things. So just simple stuff, but I wanted to make it so that file could automatically be created and configured through the script when the package is built, instead of me having to manually add them. So I wanted it all to be automatic and easy for me, for you, and so that I don't feel it a burden to update the package when we get a significant number of new wallpapers. Maybe, I don't know when I'm going to update it, how often, maybe like every 5 new wallpapers I'll update it, not entirely sure. It really depends on how often we get new wallpapers, how many we get, and what the future holds for us. But we can figure that out later. For now, it's out there, and those .xml files are automatically created now via the package build process. And they should be in, I don't actually remember the name of the directory. I could just make something up that's pretty close to the actual name, but considering I don't remember it exactly, I don't want to accidentally give you false information. So it's in some directory in /user/share, and that corresponds with the normal backgrounds directory where all the wallpapers are actually stored, and it just kind of lists the file information for the GNOME and Cinnamon settings application where you can change the wallpapers in there. For all other desktop environments, there's no modifications like that, like the .xml files that need to be considered. Deepin, instead of all the wallpapers being in the backgrounds directory, they want it in the /user/share/wallpapers directory. So they went unique, they have the wallpapers directory instead. Not a big difference, it just changes where I have to put things. So in addition, the other technical difficulty, one of the biggest ones actually, that was keeping me from releasing this program earlier, of course, aside to the whole time and issue and the fact that I was busy doing other things, aside from just as a technical instance, I didn't want you'd have 2 or 3 directories with wallpapers installed, say, because I could just include, hey, I'll cover all possible desktop environments you might have installed. I'll stick the wallpapers in the backgrounds directory and the wallpapers directory, and I'll give you the GNOME XML file and the Cinnamon XML file, even if you're running something like, say, KDE. That approach just didn't seem very fair. Like, it would more than double, close to triple, the amount of space the package would take up on your system once installed. And so, instead of doing that, what I went with was, I finally have hit upon some code to basically, some code that basically can query all desktop environments you as an individual have installed, apart from what you're running. So you don't have to be, say you have, for me, I have Apricity and Deepin. Apricity registers as GNOME, because it's basically a lot of extensions and modifications on top of GNOME. So, say I'm running Deepin, I also want the wallpapers copied not only to the wallpapers directory, but also to GNOME's backgrounds directory. And so, I finally figured out how to determine all the desktop environments that you have installed. That way, I can install everything where it needs to be and yet not give you bloat. And so finally, I was able to release that. It's all done, it's fully flexible. So if you want to be a maintainer for this, please, we need more people. We need more people to be able to collect wallpapers that users submit, and that way it provides incentive for other users to submit amazing new wallpapers for us. If it's easy for them to submit them, then they're more likely to do so. If it's hard or obscure, then oddly enough, we probably won't get many new wallpapers. So the more people that are willing to help maintain and add wallpapers to this package, just let me know. Maybe DM me on Discord or message me on our forum. Just please let me know, and I can give you the necessary permissions and rights to upload new files to the GitLab repository that we have set up for it. So that pretty much covers that. As for other things that have happened this week, I'm working, of course, on the next ISO, and we have, from Discord, we have had several people ask that we add another program in our games option.